If anyone wants to talk to me, you can come up. How's it going on this table? Is this interesting? I like you, you're good. That's the correct answer. Oh, I do. A little bit. How about you, sir? Is it bang on?
It's not what I wrote down now, but I was in a different environment.
Oh, good man. Okay, that's good. How's it going at this table, all right?
Yeah.
All sussed? Good to see you, Mick. Okay, folks, are we ready? Are we ready? Peace. I've just been around some tables, some fabulous discussions are happening, and I think some people have had some very insightful moments about themselves and about what's happening and what this means to them. I've had a great question actually from the table over there, the Widnes table, regarding the actual combination of motivators, which I'm going to address directly now. But before I do that, because it's such an important question, you should all hear my answer to it. But before I do that, does anyone want to just say something about something that they have learnt from this process so far? Well, we've got a long way to go, but so far, has anyone got something really burning to say that we can share with everybody? Anybody? Don't all rush. Okay, then we'll leave that for now. So what is the question that's come up? The question that's come up is about the combination of these things. So I'm going to go now through 3 pages, and specifically in the map. I'm going to go through page 6, page 7, and page 13, because these are the 3 most important pages in the whole 15 pages. Okay, so it's all interesting, it's all good, but there are 3 pages which are really, really interesting and really significant. And this is one of them. The first of them is page 6, and you will see here a typical, this is an anonymized, a typical kind of profile. And you will see this combination of blues, greens, and reds. You will see these dotted lines here, 30 and 10. And you will see basically your profile with the numbers sort of down somewhere in the column. So what does this mean? Well, what the question I was asked was, well, somebody has got, a green first and 2 green at the bottom, which is actually quite similar to this, actually. Does this mean this person is relationship orientated? Well, not necessarily. What this really means is that if you were all blue, you'd be all into growth, you'd all be into meaning, you'd all be into mission. If you were all red, you'd all be into achievement, 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 achievement. Now, can you see, these can be strengths, but they can also be Achilles' heel. Because, for example, if you're all into self-development, the problem with that is, what about relationships? Where are the relationships in your life? Are you going too far? If you're all into achievement, then actually, what about work-life balance? If you're all into relationship, if all 3 green motivators are all at the top, are we getting too comfortable with all our friends and it's becoming a country club? So if you've got 3 of one colour at the top, that's a strength, it's a focus, but it's potentially the other side of the coin. It's like a coin. The head is kind of like, oh, there's the positive side of it, but the tail is, too much of this might be actually a problem for you later down the line. And if you've got 1 of each, then you're balanced. So the question then becomes, what about focus? So every kind of combination has got an application, and this is something we will deal with in a lot more detail when we come to see you, as it were, on a one-to-one. But let me give you a couple more points that's very interesting. So firstly, let's look at that line 30 and that line 10. If you've got a motivator or more than 1 above the 30, we call them spikes. So 24 out of, the maximum score is 40, the minimum score is 0. So if you've got a score that's like 30 plus, and 24 is the average for a number 1 motivator, average good, it's a good, strong motivator. You've got 34, this isn't just a motivator, this is a burning, burning desire. This is a passion for this particular thing that's driving the thing. So that's what we call a spike. You have a spike motivator that just must be met. Your manager cannot afford to ignore 34, 36, 38 out of 40. If you've got 40 out of 40, by the way, which has only happened about 10 times in over 20,000 maps, you're probably pathological. But that's a side issue, okay? So there you go. If you've got below 10, you've got an inverse spike. So what that means is you've got a motivator that's becoming an aversion. It's becoming the very thing you don't want. So imagine, for example, you've got expert and you've scored it 4 out of 40. You're not really interested in training. What a drag. Oh, you would actively avoid training because, in fact, it's the sort of thing, the last thing in the world you want. So can you see if you apply that? So it's not good or bad. It depends what your role is. So if you're in a job, for example, let's say you're in a sales job, which many of you are, and it's all about the sales figures, you know, you could have a number of, a combination of motivators that work for you, and they could be up there. But equally, you could have lesser motivators. You could have motivators that are up there. They could be the wrong motivators. You could have lesser motivators that actually work for you in sales. So, for example, the searcher, customer focus. The expert might work in sales because you need to know your product. The builder might work in sales because you actually want to be competitive and outsell other people. So you could have a whole range of these motivators, but they're no good to you if, in fact, you're not in the right role for it. So if you've got a routine job, maybe some of these jobs, some of these motivators aren't so happy for you. You feel the stress of it, and vice versa. So does that make sense what I'm saying to you? So when you look at this and ask yourself this, have I got very, very low motivators? Have I got very, very high motivators? So what does that mean for me? How do I address this? How do I get this motivator more satisfied? What about the low one? What have I got to watch out for if that's really, really low? I'm a manager, and I've got director, and I've scored it 2 out of 40. Does that make sense? I don't actually want to manage people and resources. I need to, but I don't want to. So ask yourself that question when you look at it. And ask yourself the question, is there a dominant pattern with the colours? In this case, there's a dominant blue. So this person, in this particular example, really wants meaning, wants to know why they're doing what they're doing, needs plenty of scope for independence. Okay, so that's page 6. Page 7 and page 8 and page 9 are actually descriptions of the motivators in detail. And the first motivator, your top motivator, has an extra paragraph there with some extra information because it's more important than number 2 and number 3. But the most important thing on this page, which I want to share with you, which you've got to get and which the next exercise is really based upon, is this bit at the bottom. That bit at the bottom there is what we call the reward strategies. And there are 3 for each of your top 3. And this is really important because the whole of Motivational Maps is based upon not just making you more self-aware, giving you a tool to help you understand yourself. That's a good thing, but it's a feature. The benefit we're looking for is better performance, more motivation to impact your performance. How do we do that? We do it by feeding your motivators with reward strategies. Now, in the map itself, in this map, there are 9 reward strategies. In the team map for each branch, there are 11 more reward strategies. And when we actually do our training, we have a pack of over 150 ideas. And I call it a smorgasbord. It's not so, we wouldn't say to you, you need to do this, this, and this, because of course we don't know your conditions. What we would say to you would be, okay, you know your conditions, here's the profile of your team, here's your profile. Do these ideas, any of them, work for you? And some of these ideas are big ideas, some of them are small ideas, some of them are expensive ideas, some of them are free ideas. They're all about ideas of things to do that might make a difference to that particular motivator. Does that make sense? So you have got 9 ideas in your current motivational map, and I'm going to get you in a minute to look at those in a bit more detail and work with them, because what I want you to walk away from this theatre with is actually an action plan for yourself regarding what you're going to do to motivate yourself. In the same way, if I said to you, you want to get healthy and do some exercise, I'm going to the gym twice a week, I'm going to join a yoga class, I'm going to go swimming. What are you going to do? If you do nothing, your motivation remains the same. If you do something and you have a plan for your motivational well-being, you will start increasing your motivation. And we've got the language. And by the way, you know, in 3 months' time, go and see Claire or Keely or somebody and say to them, look, I've just been working on my motivation. Can I do another map to see what my current score is? Don't try and second guess the test, just do it again and see what's happened, what's changed. So, the final page before we do the exercise is this one. And this is page 13, and this, in a way, is the most fascinating of all. And this is where it gets really, really, really deeply interesting. And in fact, there's so much more to say about this when we come to the team map, which we can't do fully today, but this is going to be a mind-blower for you because this is really so good. Firstly, on this page, page 13, you find out what your score is. So you are 70% motivated, 94% motivated, whatever the figure is, you are motivated. Okay? So that's interesting. You don't want to think about the number specifically. You want to think about those 4 categories. Am I 80% plus in the zone? Am I 60 to 80 in the boost area where I can boost myself? I'm highly motivated, but I could boost it a bit more. Am I 35 to 60 and actually it's draining away a bit, I'm becoming demotivated? What do I need to do to turn that round? Or am I below 35%, which means I am really fed up really with my job at the moment? What do I need to do about that? I need to speak to somebody about that. You know, below 35, I'm really none of my top 3 motivators are being met at all. Am I in the wrong role? Could changing my role make a difference? What do I need to do? Now, that score that you've got there, that score is made up of an algorithm that comes from the top 3 motivators. There is a part of the test you did where you were asked the score out of 10, your current satisfaction rating with all 9 motivators, and you gave 9 scores out of 10. Here's what they look like, the top 3 here. These are 2 different examples, but you can see, so this particular person has got, let's see, I can't even read my own writing there, searcher, friend, and spirit, and this one's got defender, spirit, friend. And if you look at this one, they scored their defender 8, their spirit 8, and their friend 9. With this one, they scored it 7, 5, and 8. So can you see? So you've got that on the page, how you scored your own motivational profile. Now, what is this telling us? It's telling us how satisfied you are at Motorpoint at the moment with the satisfaction of what's important to you. And the key thing is which is the lowest of the top 3. In this instance, is this one over here, which is friend. This person is quite satisfied with their spirit, their searcher, but their friend actually is what's going seriously wrong for them. In this case, there are 2 equal, so we go with the top one. So in this case, where they're equal, the priority is the order in which they come. So the first motivator, defender, is more important than the second motivator, so we would focus on that one. So you have got in your own profile not only the 3 motivators and some 9 ideas of what to do with it, actually one of them is your Achilles heel. One of them is where you're feeling the pinch, where you've got a bit of grit in the soul, which is not being as well met as the others. Now, clearly, there are 1 person, I think, no, 2 people at Motorpoint who's got 100% motivation, which means they've scored 10, 10, and 10. That's good. They know who they are. In their instance, it's the top one we have to sustain. We'd go with the top one. But I'd like you all to make a note, which is the motivator for you that you've got to work on? Which is the one that's actually not as satisfied as the others? Because this is, again, a core piece of information that would actually transform your motivational score here with the algorithm that we've got. Does that make sense? So if it does, okay.